Good morning, class. Today we're going to discuss void or inexistent contract. But before we will proceed to our discussion, let us first review the different types of defective contracts. I have mentioned the first part of defective contract, the first type of defective contract in my previous video, and that is rescissible contract. So in rescissible contract, the defect basically is with the object, as when the object was sold with in gross inadequacy in price, as when the guardian or the ward suffers lesion of more than one-fourth of the value of the property, or the object was alienated and the object is subject to litigation without the consent of the litigants. So basically, in rescissible contracts, the defect is with the object. The second type of defective contract is voidable contract. In voidable contract, the defect is usually with consent, as when one party could not give his consent or the consent was vitiated by mistake, violence, fraud, or intimidation. That makes the contract voidable. The third type of contract is the unenforceable contract. In unenforceable contract, three reasons that will make the contract unenforceable. Number one, if the person entering into a contract has no authority to enter into a contract. Number two, it is not compliant with the statute of fraud. And number three is when two parties are incapable of giving his consent. So point of emphasis, pag isang party lang ay incapable of giving his consent, that is a voidable contract. But if two parties are incapable of giving their consent, then it is an enforceable contract. Again, all of these contracts are cured or could be cured by way of ratification. Let us go to the fourth type of contract, and that is void or inexistent contract. In void or inexistent contract, wala talagang kontrata because the essential requisites were not met. And what are these essential requisites again? Consent, object, cause. So if one is lacking, there is no contract to speak of. Okay, so let us go to Article 1409, and that is the first article under Chapter 9. The following contracts are inexistent and void from the very beginning. Ibig sabihin, retroacted from the very beginning. By the way, class, the rescissible contract, the voidable contract, and the unenforceable contracts are valid contracts until they are rescinded, until they are avoided. So, pag walang reklamo, walang asunto, the presumption there is that it's a valid contract. Okay? Again, I'd like to reiterate, rescissible contract, voidable contract, and unenforceable contracts are valid until rescinded or avoided. Sa unenforceable contract naman, class, is just ratification or requiring the other party to execute the agreement in a required form. But in void and inexistent contract, there is no contract to speak of because the essential requisites of a valid contract, namely consent, object, cause, were not met. Okay, 1409. The following contracts are inexistent and void from the very beginning. Number one, those whose cause, object, or purpose contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, and public policy. Let me remind you of the principle on contract, and that is the principle of autonomy. Parties may stipulate whatever they want to stipulate in a contract that is under the principle of autonomy so long as it is not contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, and policy. So their stipulation is subject to limitation. And if their stipulation is contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, and public policy, then the contract is void. Okay? Number two, those which are absolutely simulated or fictitious, those are void contracts. Wala talagang kontrata ba? No, fictitious contract lang. Na? Number three, those whose cause or object did not exist at the time of the transaction. There is no object. Those whose object is outside the commerce of man. I will sell to you my brother kaysa mukan siya. Na, is your brother within the commerce of men? No, because a human being is not for sale, no, not within the commerce of men. Number five, those which contemplates an impossible service. Okay, I will give you this pen, or I will give you this gold pen when you can climb to heaven. Okay, that is an impossible service. No? Those were the intention of the parties relative to the principal contract. Principal object of the contract cannot be ascertained. And number seven, those expressly prohibited and declared void by law. These contracts cannot be ratified, of course, because there is no contract to speak of. Take note, class, that in voidable, irrescissible, and enforceable contract, ratification is the answer. But in void or inexistent contract, there is no ratification because there is no contract to speak of because the essential requisites of a valid contract were not complied with. Neither can the right to set up the defense of illegality be waived. Okay? Pag illegal siya, illegal talaga siya. So, scrap. Na? There is no contract to speak of. Okay, now, what will you do if you have entered into a contract that is void? Na? You request for the declaration of nullity, yan man lang siguro yan, or do not comply with the provisions, with the agreed provisions. But to be safe, you have to request for the declaration of nullity. Okay, so that is for void or inexistent contract na. Wala naman siguro dito, no? By the way, in void or inexistent contract, dapat he who comes to court to declare the nullity of the contract should come with clean hands. No? Ibig sabihin, hindi siya yung may kasalanan, no? But if both parties have fault, ang tawag natin dyan sa law, pari delicto, pareho silang may kasalanan, then the law will leave them as they are. No? Hindi makikialam ang balaod or ang law sa kanila. Okay, I think that settles our discussion with contracts, no? I-review ninyo ang mga notes ninyo, i-review ninyo ang book ninyo, i-assess ninyo ang sarili ninyo if you are ready for the summative assessment, no? If you can pass the summative assessment or if you pass your final exam, departmental exam, then that's it, okay? Have a very good day, class.